Thank you for having me. Thank you for all you do for the city, and thank you for all you do for the city. Without each and every one of you, we would not be the city that we are, and we would not have the quality of volunteerism that we have, the type of innovation that we have, and I think that it's almost like we rehearsed this leading up to this, but innovate is going to be one of those buzzwords that I think we're all talking about and all experiencing. So bear with me. If you get bored, there's a Hudson Growth Trends report on your table. Hopefully each one of you will be able to take this if you want it. It's a lot of good information on the trends that are going on in the city. It really will help, whether it's for your business or your services or whatever. But we do this information gathering every year. We've innovated into this new format. So before there was this big, thick book that it showed you a table, and then it told you what the table said, and then it told you again what the table said, and then there was an appendix that told you what the table said. So we kind of cut it down so it takes a lot less time to read it and you get more out of it. Also, if you are bored or if I go too fast, I have last year's State of the City address and the year before that. I can just keep going over and over and over that, but I won't. Let me get to my start. So, did we have the picture, the sunny picture? Pardon me? Oh well, I'll have to wait. I figure we all could use some sunshine, so somewhere in this presentation there's a picture of summertime. I talked to you about the growth management report, and mostly what I'm going to do today is go through very quickly and just review a couple of the highlights of the things that the city's accomplished for everybody. There's no way that I can cover everything that we've done. Our staff is an incredible staff working very hard, 7 days a week for all of you. And when I got here, they felt that their plate was full, but they've always been able to take on one more project and do one more thing and do it well. In fact, I have a little poem here that I'm going to divide up into some sections. And the first stanza says, "Somebody said that it couldn't be done, but she with a chuckle replied that maybe it couldn't, but she would be one who wouldn't say no till she tried. So she buckled right in with a trace of a grin on her face. If she worried, she hid it. She started to sing as she tackled that thing that couldn't be done, and she did it." And that is exactly what happens every day. I'm amazed at the innovation and the work that goes forward with our city staff. I'm multitasking here. Okay, you all probably remember this, all the barrels on North Main Street. This was a huge project. Tom Sheraton, our Assistant City Manager for Professional Services and City Engineer, is responsible for this project. It was an amazing project to keep all the businesses open, to keep the traffic flowing, to replace a 100-year water line, and all that went with it. This is an amazing project. We're still working on some of the last little detail things. Some of the manholes aren't at grade and so on, but was a great project, did very, very much a great benefit to the city. This past year, Tom made sure to tell me that this past construction season, the engineering department did more projects than he's ever done in any one year before in his career. And we did, you probably saw a lot of them. Prospect and Maine, that project was going on. Well, this project was going on. Norton and 91, that project was a partnership with Stowe, that was going on. Barlow Road was going on. So just the magnitude of road construction was pretty amazing. On the left, on the left, the tornado sirens. This was a project that was years in the making. One of our assistant fire chiefs took this project on to try and find funding over years and years, and we now are the proud recipient of new upgraded tornado sirens that actually cover the entire city, so there aren't any gaps. On the upper right is Barlow Road. I mentioned that, and hopefully if you haven't driven down that road, you should drive down. One of the big problems on Barlow Road was the railroad crossing, and right as you cross the railroad, the road took a curve, and if you weren't careful, you might end up in the golf course. Because of this project, we've been able to realign some of the holes, and I'll show you one of those in a few minutes. Down below is just a picture of our crews putting fiber in for our Velocity broadband. We've now put over 60 miles of fiber. We have over 160 customers, business customers on that provides gigabit fiber as well as voice over IP. So if any of your businesses or anybody you know in business is tired of the frequent outages or slow speed of some of our competitors, we'd be happy to talk with you. We think we could help you out. In 2017, we did a lot of projects, but these are recreational projects. You'll see on the left the splash pad, which is in Veterans Park, Veterans Way. That was put in. That was funded in part by Kiwanis. And then on the right, you'll see a picture of the ninth hole at Ellsworth Meadows. That hole was completely redone. And Greg, I believe that was done in-house. So Greg is our golf pro, so if anybody needs lessons, I'd suggest that I'd try some, but I'm hopeless, so his time is better spent. A couple of years ago, Council came and talked to me a little bit about how we aren't really taking advantage of a lot of grants that come along, or they see them and we don't do any grant work. So we took a little risk and we hired Rhonda Kadish as a part-time grant writer. In 2017, she applied for over $1.3 million, and of those dollars, she was able to secure $707,000 plus in funding for various grant programs and so on. That's money that doesn't have to come out of the general fund. It augments anything from small issues to big issues. The one thing I will say about this is we don't include some of our major road programs. Tom does most of that work with AMATS and ODOT funding, federal funding. So a lot of the road projects you see, a lot of the stormwater projects you see, and a lot of the multi-use path projects you see are funded through federal dollars or through AMATS dollars. These are a couple examples of some of the things that we've been able to receive thanks to Rhonda's work. On the left is a new camera for our community TV. I believe one of those cameras is that camera back there. On the right is a grant award for a cot. And you'll see the mayor is sitting on the cots. The cots go up, they're automatic and they go up and down. It helps alleviate a lot of back strain from our paramedics or our EMTs as they're trying to lift people in and out of the wagons. One of the other things that happened with our community television programs and stations, if you look at the left, that's how the reception used to be. So even when you could watch some of our programs, it wasn't very pleasing to your eyes to be able to watch. We secured a grant from the Burton D. Morgan Foundation to upgrade our machines, our transmission machines. And so on the right, you'll see what our reception looks like after we've been able to do that. Now, what this does for us is it allows us to move forward with high-def live streaming programming. And we see that as moving toward the future. That's also the innovative part of continuous improvement. I want to read a little bit more of the poem for a moment. Somebody scoffed, "Oh, you'll never do that. At least no one has ever done it. But he took off his coat and he took off his hat, and the first thing we knew, he'd begun it. With a lift of his chin and a bit of a grin, without any doubting or quit it, he started to sing as he tackled the thing that couldn't be done, and he did it. Once again, many of the things that I'm showing you up here are things that a couple of years ago we just never thought we'd be able to get grants. We never thought we'd be able to live stream. We never thought we'd be able to get the tornado sirens and so on. We just buckled down and tackled those, and one at a time we were able to do it. Speaking of things that I never thought we could see, Jim Stifler, coming on board 18 months or so ago, put into high gear our economic development work. These are a couple of pictures of Hudson Crossings. If you haven't been out there, it's almost filled up. The Goldfish Swim School is right on 303. All in all, in 2017, over 1,000 jobs have either been added to our payrolls or have been promised through the development. That's an incredible number. 600 of those jobs plus were technology jobs, which are high-paying technology jobs, and I don't even hesitate really to say that our Velocity Broadband is attracting some of these high-tech companies that are coming in here. They're coming specifically for our Velocity Broadband. In case you don't know what this building is, this is going to be soon to be the city administration building. It's currently the Pasco building. This is on the corner, kind of the corner of Hudson Drive and Terex. We'll be moving out of the rented space that we have on Boston Mills and moving down here. At the same time, the Pasco crew will be moving from here to a rented office space where we are right now. This is going to be the most insane couple of months that we've ever had, but in the end, we were able to get a great location with plenty of space. It's 30,000 plus or minus square feet. The bottom floor is a perfect future community room, gathering room, meeting room, and so on. And they have several training rooms. They have a commercial grade kitchen down there and so on. So it's 22 acres. So we'll be able to have functions out there, community events out there, and so on. At the same time, we were able to retain the Pasco jobs by allowing them to move into our lease space up in Boston Mills. So this was truly a win-win. And the amount of money it's costing us to purchase this is between a half and a third as much as if we would have had to build a new building at half the space. So this was a very, very good opportunity that, again, if we hadn't been thinking outside the box, we probably would have just, oh, that's private sector. That doesn't involve government, so we wouldn't have done it. Downtown Phase 2 is coming along. We've gone through a lot of the community engagement process. As I mentioned earlier, we've got traffic studies and parking studies being done right now. We're in partnership with Testa Companies, who's a regional developer. Some of you probably have seen some of their stuff in other communities. This is a photograph of the website. We are trying to get as much information out on our website as possible so that we have questions and answers, we have fact sheets. We have this, actually, if you go on there, this picture there's a slide. And if you take it and you go from the left to the right, it changes from the concept plan to what the aerial shows what's developed right now. This is a terrific redevelopment property and is going to be able to take almost 20 acres that is either low or no property tax and put it back on the tax rolls. So as well as the whole, about half of this will be commercial, so we'll have job creation and an expansion of our income tax base. In order to do Phase 2, we have to move the bus garage, the salt dome, and HPP. HPP, which is Hudson Public Power, has moved now down to Hudson Drive. They're in one of the old Ramco facilities. The salt dome will be coming down this year. We're building a new salt dome down here on the Caberna property, which is also on Hudson Drive. And then we'll be building the bus garage. So all of those buses, the big salt trucks, the electric trucks won't be coming out of the downtown at rush hour any longer, well, after this is completed. So this kind of goes along with one of the sayings that we like to use a lot, that we stay connected to our past, but we're building for the future of Hudson. Jim would call it future-proofing. So this past year, several of our staff members decided to apply for an intelligent community designation. Intelligent community designation isn't that we're not all smart. I think that's common knowledge that we're all smart. It's how you use the intelligence. It's how you use the technology for the benefit of the community, the residents, and the region. A lot of it is geared toward technology, but it's not just the technology. It's how you work together, your partnerships, your school, your education, as well as your businesses, as well as your public services, and so on. So Jim and Paul and Rhonda put together, the three of them took this on. They wrote an application to become one of 21 intelligent communities in the world. Not just North America, not just the United States, but in the world. Thinking it was a good exercise to get us to really start thinking outside the box and innovation and so on. And lo and behold, we made that designation. We were the only community in the United States that won that designation in 2018. So Hudson is a Smart 21 community, and what you get for that is you get to apply to be a Smart 7 community. So after we got this and we patted ourselves on the back, Jim and Paul and Rhonda rolled up their sleeves and wrote an application over the Christmas holiday to become a Smart 7. Now, there are a lot of things that come along with these designations, and there's a little bit on the left side, but the use of high-speed technology, use of sensor equipment, things like that. I'm going to go to the next one because it's a little easier. This is an infographic that shows you a little bit more about what can be done. A lot of the little circles here are identifiers that can help, whether it's through use of sensors or smart technology. So you can start, and on the back of this you can see some of the things that are done. So we're improving parking. I'm sure some of you have been to the Cleveland airport. They have smart parking. When you go into the parking garage, you see the lights, the red and the green lights, so you know exactly where the open parking spaces are and so on. You don't have to keep circling anymore. Security and safety, traffic signals. Through the use of fiber and sensors, traffic signals can now be connected so they talk to each other. So if there's a traffic jam at 91 and 303, they automatically will slow down the traffic or stop the traffic at Prospect or at Norton or at Joanne's until that traffic gets smoothed out and so on. So we couldn't do that without having the fiber that we've laid in the town. Now we can do that. Now we also have a pilot program over in one of the subdivisions where we're going to put sensors on some of the street lights. Those sensors will dim street lights during times of the middle of the night and so on when people aren't out, or have them go up when you see activity come through. That can save, statistically, that can save up to 70% of our electric costs for street lights. And that's a huge benefit. Utility monitoring, we can start, if we have sensors running through neighborhoods, we can start monitoring your utilities as far as if you have a water break, we can see it right then in real time. We can tell you about that. We can do meter readings and things. So just even some of our public services. Now when we go further with sensors, we could do stormwater sensors. So if, let's say, the ponds at Barlow, it's raining really hard and the ponds at Barlow start filling up, we now have to send somebody out physically to determine that. So they go out and they look every couple hours when it's raining hard, and we're paying for that. Well, if we have a sensor there, we don't have to have human eyes go look at it every couple hours. We'll be able to see it on the sensor and know when to send somebody out. So telemedicine is a huge thing that's going to be coming there, that is coming here. And the more we have intelligent community, the more we have fiber and so on, the better we are to be able to age in place using telemedicine and so on. Then as far as connecting to the community, we've done a lot, just like we're doing right now. We have a Facebook Live going on. This is going up on Facebook Live. If you guys want to wave to the camera, you can. But we're using YouTube. We have a whole series of YouTubes. We're using Facebook Live. We're getting messages out through Nextdoor. We're getting messages out through Twitter. So the more we can have interactive information going out to the community. Some of our Facebook Lives and some of our YouTubes are things like fishing at Hudson Springs Park, or what it's like to be in a snowplow. You know, a lot of times people say, God, that snowplow is just like flying down. But you need to have certain momentum in order to push certain types of snow, and it differs between whether the snow's wet or dry or how deep it is and so on. We have instructions now that show that. The LEAF program, we put some information out on the LEAF program and how you can mulch leaves and how you can do some environmental things. The one up on the top right is firework display. That was right before the 4th of July, so that we were able to educate people on some of the fun things with fireworks, but also some of the dangerous things. I'm almost done. Special events. Special events are increasing. This is an interesting dilemma. We've got a lot of food truck things that want to come in, so we've now licensed food trucks. Food trucks are always kind of a concern because the people that have brick and mortar facilities, restaurants and so on, are they fair to that? You know, we don't want to make unfair competition, but we want to be able to provide things that people want. And a lot of functions really like to have food trucks. Our events, this is something that's really important, and Deb Sherman's here, and she was coordinating the Hudson the Hudson Wine Festival and the Taste of Hudson. I was drawing a blank. Some of those festivals got big enough that we were starting to get a lot of pushback on them, so we redid those. You know, she spent a year working on redoing those and making sure that we're fitting our stuff. So, you know, so sometimes we're just starting to have to say to people, that function is too big. The flea market got too big and had to move down to Joann's and so on. So we want to make sure that we attract things to the downtown without inundating the downtown. Up on the upper left corner is the new website for our economic development website. I'd encourage you to take a look at that. We're trying to really make it much more dynamic. We're trying to increase our reach. I don't know if any of you have heard, we have MTR ads that go out once in a while, public service announcements. So just trying to keep our reach moving out there, make sure people understand what Hudson has to offer and so on. So there you go, sunshine. So 17 and 18, improving efficiencies and effectiveness. These are some of the really boring things that I don't have pictures for. But we've done online permitting. We've actually moved into the credit card payment opportunity, which who wouldn't do that now? So we're doing that now. We're updating our zoning code. We're implementing new financial software this year. In 2018, we'll have a ballot issue on reallocating our funds for fire and EMS. It's very dry stuff, but back in 2003, I believe, we had a levy, an income tax increase, And we had specific parts of that income tax going to specific pots for uses. So we can't use money going in this pot for this pot. Well, over the years, things have changed. One of the big things is we don't have as many volunteers for our emergency medical technicians, so we have to hire part-timers. When we hire part-timers, it costs more money. But the amount of money allocated to that was based on 2003, not 2018. So at the same time, our fire fund has a bigger pot because they're not using it in the same way they were using it then. So all we're doing is asking the voters if they'd allow us to just combine those two pots. And then we can spread that money out so we can do our EMS as well as our fire appropriately. So I want to close with the last stanza of my poem. And this is very true and will continue to be true forever, I think. There are thousands to tell you it can't be done. There are thousands to prophesy its failure. There are thousands to point out that to you, one by one, the dangers that wait to assail you. Just buckle in with a bit of a grin. Just take off your coat and go to it. Just start in to sing as you tackle the thing that cannot be done, and you'll do it. Just keep remembering this is a community that's great. We have great people, we have great volunteers, we have great businesses, and together we can tackle anything that we right now think can't be done. And thank you for your time, and have a great year.